to the Newcastle Knights to start the season, but we can hit back against a Parramatta side this weekend. We're going to talk about the game last week and preview the one incoming on another episode of West Tigers live from the Orange Grove Hotel. West Tigers fans, welcome to another episode of the West Tigers Live podcast for another Wednesday evening at the Orange Grove Hotel. We've got all the audio sorted at the Orange Grove Hotel now, so they can all hear us here in the OG. Give us a
I can hear.
So everyone, they're having a few beers, some burgers, $18 burger night here at the Orange Grove. So join us every Wednesday if you want to hear us live in the flesh. If not, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe and share, like, or help the algorithm out. If you haven't seen already, check out our interview with Adele Haj, former West Tigers New South Wales Harvey Norman Premiership winning coach. 2022, not 2023, because I was incorrectly saying on the socials. Premiership winning coach, either way, and a great chat that Rob and I had with him on Sunday night. And he is offering to come back on the show regularly to break it all down. So an actual coach to break down West Tigers games. So if you are watching on YouTube, that was an audio only thing. We didn't have to put the makeup on for that one. So it's on YouTube podcasts, Apple and Spotify, wherever you get your normal audio podcasts. And shouts to everyone at Campbelltown on Friday night that came on the post-game video. If you haven't seen it yet, there's little mini versions of that on the Instagram, the TikTok, and the Facebook pages at West Tigers Life. But you can see the full video on our YouTube channel as well. And please give us a follow at West Tigers Life on Twitter and Instagram. So much going on. I'll go to the man to my right, Mr. Bashara. How good was that chat with Adele on Sunday night? Kind of made us feel he was quite optimistic. And after Friday night, obviously, we sunk a few tears with a few of our great Patreon legends after the game. But good perspective to get from Adele from a coach's point of view.
Let's pick it up.
Yeah, well, firstly, good evening, guys. Good evening, everyone listening and watching. I've been giving Adele a little bit of grief just privately and jokingly because he was excellent, but he's also a very staunch defender of the club. To get his perspective, breaking it down, talking in sort of coaches' technical terms, it was something different. And he's happy to come on every Sunday night. And maybe we're not going to do it live, obviously. Like, we'll clip it and we'll probably have it out 2 or 3 hours later on Sunday night. So when you wake up Monday morning and you feel like a listen or a bit of a review, just jump in there. But I really enjoyed the chat with him. And look, I hope we try not to say too much and let him do most of the talking. I'll probably chime in a bit at the end. But I mean, they hear us all the time, so it was good to get Adele's perspective. And he's a legend for doing that and to give up his time. So I'm sure Adele's watching tonight. So if you are, mate, thanks again.
And apologies for the audio. He was living in Brisbane. Of course, if you live under a rock, you would know that they had some serious weather problems over the weekend. So he was, but he wasn't in his house as much. He didn't have his actual setup. He had to go to work just to get some power. He was had no electricity. So stats man gone. He's going to the bar, I think.
I think they're trying to get out. They're trying to get the screen going.
Tech man.
Yeah, so we'll introduce him shortly when he gets
back. Shouts to the Orange Grove Hotel. There's a nice cold Coopers here. You can get that on tap here. 20 tap beers here at the Orange Grove that you can enjoy. So come down and enjoy that. And again, as always, thank you to our friend Jason over at iChoice. If you're looking for a home loan, you can literally save you thousands of dollars just by, if you're due to refinance your mortgage. See, I'm an idiot. I did people like Jason. When it comes to finance,
They're all idiots. He's the
yeah, but he's the Adele Haj of
he's a Tom Brady. He's a Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady of
Yes,
the
Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes of the brokerage financial world. So what's the address for that one, Rob?
Corner of the Boulevard, Liverpool Road, Enfield, Strathfield, I think it is, 97430000. Give him a call and they will look after you. It's all free of charge.
And he's obviously a big Tigers fan as well. Righto. Speaking of big Tigers fans,
Yeah,
he's come back.
he's come back.
Here he is,
Technician.
stats man / tech man. How many hats do you need? Welcome to another episode of West Tigers Life.
Yeah, g'day Josh, g'day Rob, g'day everyone watching and listening. I've got a few hats apparently, a few nicknames here, there and everywhere. Not sure how many of them I can adequately live up to, but I don't know, I'll give it a try.
We'll bring back Casanova. We'll work on that one for the rest of the year.
It's been a while since that one's been thrown around.
Righto, straight off the top of the bat, the thing that we probably don't want to talk about, but everyone's talking about, and yeah, probably get fired up to start the show because they've written the headline here. Someone from the Parramatta Eels signs with the Newcastle Knights, and of course, who do the media talk about most of the week? The West Tigers, of course, because for some reason, everything leads back to the West Tigers. If you read the back page of the paper, I had my little rant on our pages today that Jahream Luai's head was half the paper talking about could Luai go to Parramatta, could Galvin go to Parramatta. Just, guys, how frustrating is it? Look, we get the Galvin thing is going to hang over our head all year until hopefully he does put pen to paper and hopefully re-sign Rob, but it's just so frustrating that a big player movement happens in the NRL that doesn't involve us, but it involves us somehow.
Yeah, look, firstly, congratulations to Dylan Brown for getting that sort of money. I think it's ridiculous to be getting 1.3 for 10 years for a running 5'8". He's probably the best running 5'8", but I just don't think that sort of player is entitled to that. But again, if Newcastle are willing to pay it, that's their business. We saw how Parramatta did last year without, Mitch Moses there. And, you could say that Parramatta's team might not be that great, but they still had Gutherson and Sevo and Regan Campbell-Gillard and all these players, and Dylan Brown couldn't get it done. They end up fighting spoon bowl with us. So I think that's that about Dylan Brown. As for our players, I'll touch on the Deadwood first. The talk of Jahream Luai ever going there makes no logic to me whatsoever, no sense. Luai's on about 1.2, 1.3 a year. Dylan Brown has just left Parramatta because he can get $1.3 million elsewhere. The best Parramatta offered Dylan Brown was $1 million a year. Why the hell would Luai take a $300,000 pay cut? Or why would Parramatta offer Luai the same money that he's on at the Tigers now to go there? So how Dean Ritchie came up with that just because he played a couple of games of Origin with Mitch Moses is absolutely ridiculous. I think we can bury that one in the water straight away. Don't worry about Luai going to Parramatta. It's just bullshit. As for Lockie, his management team have said that he's open to all offers. Again, we're getting false reports in the paper all the time. He's part of the Isaac Moses management group, but his manager is Adam Brunner. They keep saying it's Isaac Moses. It's not Isaac Moses, it's Adam Brunner. So when you're talking about his manager, that's who it is. Like you said, it's going to hang over our heads for the whole year. And that does concern me. I hope Lockie can handle that week in, week out, the questioning of what are you going to do, and then, heaven forbid if he has an off day, the questions are going to come in, like this is because your contract isn't resolved and all this sort of stuff. So Lockie just needs to keep his head out of the papers. Don't listen to social media. Some of the criticism he's received on social media that's been sent to me is ridiculous. You can make observations and say that like he might not have had a great kicking game that night or done something bad, whatever you may think. But for West Tigers fans to turn on a West Tigers 19-year-old. It's just ridiculous, and I think it's uncalled for. Look, he's got good people around him, and ultimately, whatever Lockie does, I'd love him to be a Tiger for life, but whatever Lockie does, Lockie's got to do the best thing that suits him and his family and his football career, whether it's a Parramatta, West Tigers, or anywhere else. But just let him be. Like, he's only 19. You know, he's got, like, no one's going to worry about what Lockie Galvin's doing in 25 or 30 years. He's got to look after himself. So he's got good people around him. He's from a great family. You know, I wouldn't even ask where he's going. Like, I've spoken to his dad a couple of times. I would never even embarrass myself to ask what's going on. It's none of my business. It's none of anyone's business. One thing I will say, and this is the only point I want West Tigers fans to understand, if we lose Lockie Galvin, it's because we're not travelling well as a club. I believe if we're within touch of the 8, we're in the hunt for the finals with 4 to 6 weeks to go, and we've seen significant improvement from our club, I think Lockie wants to stay. He's got a lot of mates at the club. He loves Benji. He loves the whole place. But he wants to go to a place that he thinks might be competitive. Now, Parramatta might not be competitive this year, but they might be in years to come, or whether it's the Roosters or whether it's elsewhere. So, yeah, he's going to get big offers from any club because he's one of the hottest young players in the game. But it's not going to come down to the money. It's going to come down to what's best for his footballing future, where he can learn the best, where he can develop the best. And that's what kind of hurt a lot about getting off to a bad start last Friday night with a loss, because the more we win, the more the speculation sort of dies down a little bit. And God help us, if we lose to Parramatta or play badly, even if we win or lose, but if we play badly against Parramatta, I can't imagine what social media is going to be like, because I think West Tigers fans' heads are going to spin until they come off their necks. So it's just, look, the Lockie stuff we've just got to accept. That's going to happen. It's clear he's not going to make a decision, and he's open to all offers. But the Luai stuff, I think, is an absolute load of shit. So just don't worry about Luai going. Well, it's my opinion, but it would make no sense that he'd take a 25% salary cut to go elsewhere, because Parramatta can't offer. They wanted Dylan Brown, and the most they would go to is $1 million. Why would they offer Jahream more than Dylan Brown? But look, that's my piece. I don't know what you got to say about it, Aaron.
Well, I pretty much want to echo everything you just said, but I'll add on to that. I think what journalism, or rugby league journalism in particular, has become these days is complete and utter bullshit. It's all basically like, so all that has to happen is someone has to say something, and all of a sudden a rumour has been started. In this case, Bulldog Richie's opened his fat mouth, and he's gone and basically started this rumour that Luai's now going to go to friggin' Parramatta after playing just one game for us. And, like, I don't know how that comes across as journalism, but apparently it does. And then just on the Lockie stuff, I agree with what you've said. And I was a big believer in when Brooks was copping criticism, and sometimes criticism turns into a bit more than criticism, that there's always a line, and it's important to not cross that line. A lot of fans, a lot of the time, kind of just turned on Brooksy, probably way more than they should have. It wasn't the club's fault that he was being paid, or sorry, it wasn't Brooksy's fault that he was being paid as much as he was. It was the club and management of the club who had paid him that much money, and the fact that he wasn't delivering on that amount of money is his fault, especially when we were playing him out of position, basically, as has been determined by the fact of what he's been able to do at Manly. And we've got to be careful, especially with Lockie. Like, he's young. He's just had a brilliant debut season. He's had an average first game of his second season, and there's always the possibility of there being a bit of a lull in the second season. In saying that, I think one game isn't a very good sample size. Obviously, it's a brand new halves combination with him and Jahream. And there's a lot of potential for them to grow and develop that combination. So I don't think it's fair to judge too harshly just yet. And you're right, a lot of the criticism Galvin's copping, and some of the things, I don't know what you've been sent. I don't know what exactly has been said. But
it's like, it's really, really derogatory. Like I said, I'm the first one to say, first half,
if Lockie didn't, if Lockie ran on the last tackle, maybe if he'd have passed the left, we could have scored. That's just an observation. It's not being critical. And who knows what would have happened? Someone might have dropped the ball, or see that Jahream and Lockie put some bad kicks in. But we've got to, when we're describing the game, we can't say, "Oh, he was magnificent," or "He was this." Like when we're talking about Lockie Galvin games, 3/4 of them are brilliant. So but you've got to call a spade a spade. But you don't have to. There's ways to. I like to call it observations as opposed to criticisms, because it's just unfair. We're sitting in the grandstand watching. He's trying his hardest. He still ran 148 meters, which is like more than most of our forwards did. He still he okay, a couple of kicks went bad, but big deal. That's what I said last week. The magnifying glass is going to be on Lockie because we've given him such a big. Personally, I think he's the answer. I know certain experts out there like Gus Gould have praised him and saying he's going to be the most expensive player in league one day, etc., etc. But you just have your bad moments. We just got to give him time. He didn't have a bad game, but it's just everything's magnified on him. Jerome's first game back, no regular back. I don't know what our game style was, and I'm not throwing that on the players. I actually feel like if I was going to shade on anyone, it's the coaches, because there's two things: either the coaches gave poor instructions, or the instructions weren't followed. Instructions weren't followed. That's on the coaches. So I know what Lockie's like, from having watched him. I just want to see him go out and enjoy himself, have that big smile like we saw against Parramatta. Just looked like he was just happy to be there and he was playing marbles or something. It wasn't a game of rugby league. And we just have to keep that enthusiasm, because if he's not enjoying his footy with us after, say, another 10 weeks, he's not going to hang around. Why would he? You've got to enjoy your job. If you don't enjoy your job, you need to leave it.
Sorry, guys, just doing a bit of tech. Someone, I had the wrong microphone plugged into the stream, so everyone here at the OG hearing us loud and clear, but I had the wrong audio, so we're all good now. We're going through the actual
starting again.
No, Az was on fire too. You and Az were on fire there, so apologies to everyone, especially Az, because that was people were loving it.
Bernard in the comments a little bit ago said this was the first time Az has sworn on the pod. Bernard, if you weren't here last year, I direct you to some of my rants late the season last year. I had some absolute belters then, didn't I, boys?
Yeah. Righto. We march on anyway. We've already talked about the game review for Coach Adele. If you haven't heard it yet, Spotify or what's it called? Apple Podcasts. Rob, how good was it on Friday night? So we're filming the post-game rants, first one of the year. And we're standing there on the corner, speaking to West Tigers fans, and yeah, tell us about your two biggest fans that came along.
Yeah, that was rather flattering. Had two young, very polite men come up here. One in particular, his mates call him Faze. His name's Fayez, but they call him Faze. And his brother Kays, I believe. And they came up and asked for a photo and said they listened to the podcast, and they listened to it on the way to school and all that sort of stuff. That was really nice. And they asked for a photo, which was really cool. But just how polite they were, and asked them about the game, and you could just see like how resilient they were. Like, we'll be right, we're Tigers, and it was just really good to see. So, to their mum Lena, you got two wonderful young men there, and it's good to see our supporter base in good hands. So yeah, it really made my night, because I was pretty deflated after full time. I actually didn't want to do any of that post-game interview stuff that we were doing. So tell the boys they made their night, and Tigers for life.
Right, on to the game itself. So, yeah, Rob, you and I kind of talked with Dell on Sunday night. So, Az, give us your thoughts, a bit of the breakdown. It was now 5 nights ago, but in hindsight, what are your thoughts on the game against the Knights?
Overall, in the first half, I thought we were decent. We squandered a few attacking chances. The Knights squandered a few attacking chances, but you're going to kind of get that in the first few rounds when there's a little bit of rust involved, and obviously new team, new connections, new combinations, and things of that nature. Defensively, I thought we scrambled really well. I think the reason why we missed a lot of tackles was because of the scramble. Generally, when you're scrambling, you're if you're sliding off tackles because players are sliding out past you. And I mean, yeah, the numbers don't look great, but the team, I mean, conceding no points at halftime, I think was really good, and then only conceding 10 points for the rest of the game, considering how bad, how poor we were in the missed tackle department, was not too bad. I think the Knights really only had a few threats that we couldn't control. One of them was Ponga. Every time he touched the ball, he looked extremely dangerous. Both of their second rowers, I thought, did really well, and we struggled to contain them. Best and Gagai, I think, were the two players we were most concerned about, other than Ponga, in our preview last week. And I thought we actually kept both of them fairly quiet. Yeah, I'm obviously disappointed with the result. I think there's a lot of things that we could have done better. Kicking game, I think, was a little bit how you go, and a couple of questionable decisions, like Rob mentioned before. Luai's going to take a little bit of time to find his kicking radar, I think, because he was the one responsible for that full set of tackles where Ponga caught the ball in the goal on his backside. Yeah, overall, decently okay with the result, I suppose. Would have been great to win, would have been amazing to win. But in saying that, to take the team who made final, one of the teams who made finals last year and almost won their final last year, only letting them score 10 points with one of the most dangerous players in the entire competition as their fullback, I think is a decent effort to start the season.
Fair enough. I can't. I'm gutted that we conceded 10 points and lost the game. If you look to all the games played last year, the lowest winning score was 8-0 by Melbourne against Penrith in round one. So for Knights, I don't think any team is going to score 10 points this year and win. Like when you score 10 points, you should be losing. For me, it was just the red zone attack. That was actually disheartening. Obviously, it's great to only concede 10 points, but I would have rather have lost, honestly, 30-28 because at least I could see some hope with our attack. But what I saw in the second half just wasn't good enough. It made me question what were we practicing in the off-season. There was absolutely no shape in the red zone. I have to bow to sort of Adele's expertise on the coaching side of it, saying that Appy will make us better and Jahream Bula will make us better. I'm sure we'll score more points this week. But for mine, Appy makes us better getting us from goal line to the red zone. I don't think any hooker, makes you great in the red zone. Like Penrith don't need Mitch Kennedy to be super in the red zone. I mean, obviously occasionally Harry Grant goes from dummy half, but once you get to the red zone, I mean, running a block shape really doesn't have much to do with Appy except maybe just engaging the markers for an extra half a second. So I still think we've got to. I don't know what we've done. I just think our backline shape has to be better. And yeah, we didn't have players, in the trials, but I thought that we would have trained in off season. Jerome's out or Bulla's out or whatever, the next man up plays the same style of footy. I don't know, just because Heath pushes up the middle and, Jahream's more of a ball player, I don't know why we can't be playing the same with everyone and trying to do the same thing. One other thing I want to touch on, just with the play the ball speed that Adele mentioned the other night, it really doesn't bother me if it's 3.6 seconds or 4.6 seconds. It's just relative to the other team. We were 4.1 seconds, but they were 3.6 seconds. So half a second when the game works the same way is really poor. Give a little bit of that maybe to the new crackdown on the play. Put on a little bit, and maybe the boys were just being extra careful to get the foot on the ball. But to be half a second slower than your opposition is not good as well. And look, I think we did well to keep them 10 points. They had 7 line breaks to 1. So, it felt like we should have won the game. But when you look at the stats, probably Newcastle should have won, given they made so many line breaks, and when you had 1 for 80 minutes.
I will say a lot of the game early on, especially the first half, they were making a lot of their errors in the red zone. So we were basically, for a lot of our sets, trying to come off our line, and they were doing a really good job, I thought, of pitting us. And that was making it hard for us to kind of get anything going in attack when it came to attacking kicks. So we had to rely on, a lot of the time, it was penalties to get out of our own end, because we didn't get awarded a single 6 again all game, which I thought was kind of bizarre. But having to do a lot of your work from your own, basically inside your own 10 or inside your own 20, doesn't give you a lot of options to like, or a lot of chances to get down the other end of the field unless you get a bit of help from those 6 agains or that we didn't get, or from the penalties. And I don't think we got all that many of those, especially in the second half. We got a few in the first half, but obviously a few silly mistakes of our own in the red zone as well. We kind of just kept ourselves on the back foot a little bit. Obviously, the team's going to take a bit of time to gel. I do agree with Adele that having Appy and Bula in particular back this week is going to be really helpful. Obviously, they've been training as a spine with those 4 players for the entire preseason, and it'll hopefully be good to see a little bit of attacking action from those guys.
But it's their first game back.
Yeah,
That's
their
the
first
thing.
game back too.
They haven't had a trial. We're, are we expecting too much from them to hit the ground running straight away? Again, I'll go back to that red zone attack. When you're up 8-0 and you get as much red zone ball as we had in the second half, we should have put them out of reach, because we did defend the 7 tackle set. We did defend Heath Mason's uncontested drop bomb. There was a lot of scrambling, and like I said, they did 7 line breaks to 1, and they bombed some tries. Some of those bomb tries are due to our extra effort, like Luai batting the ball down in the first half when Kalen Ponga made the break and tried to punch the ball inside, and Luai knocked the ball down and regained the ball. Like, some of it's down to our hustle, and that's great to see. But every team needs to hustle. Every team needs to put in effort. We've got to be a bit more slick and a bit more technical and a bit more. We've got so much attack in that team that we should not be held scoreless for the last 51 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and one other thing I'll add as well is we are still missing a little bit of that footy IQ. Obviously, we've still got a lot of young players around. Getting penalised for that play where Talon got himself in a position to receive an offload in a play that he wasn't eligible to be a part of because he was in front of the play of the ball. I think that's just another one of those things where the team will learn as they go. Obviously, it's very much attention to detail, and that was a big part of what Benji was trying to get across during the Thrive or Survive doco. And there's still a lot of those, I think, on-field moments where there's going to be a little bit of a steep learning curve for some of these youngsters. I think what Talon needed to do in that particular position was not be so close to the player who was trying to offload, like put himself in a position where he's a little bit further away so he can still get to play the ball if the player is tackled, or he can just basically wait in the wings to get through to the next play. But putting himself in a position to receive an offload in a play where he's not eligible to be a part of it was a little bit of a silly move as well.
Don't mind me, guys. I'm just testing the audio.
But look,
going well there.
And just another thing, and again, we're no experts, but if we haven't had any shape in the first game, any backline moves, you can't fix that in a week. This is something that I'm sure should have been or would have been worked on in the offseason. I don't know what they're doing. I'm only speculating, but the one thing West Tigers fans can do is just judge on the field what you see, because that's pretty much what they're meant to have. And it did look like they were strangers in the second half. So some of those sets were absolutely awful, and I don't think you can fix that in a week. And respectfully, I don't think Appy and Jahream fix that in a week. Like, look, we might have the odd win, and we might come out this week and pump Parra. Who knows? But it doesn't mean to me that everything's hunky dory. It just does concern me quite a bit.
All right, I'm hoping that the audio is hunky dory now. I've got it all sorted.
You missed the best part too. Jeez,
the best part. No, it was all coming. It was just the start of the show was a bit shit, but kind of the opposite of the West Tigers, who ended shit. So we'll do the opposite. We'll have a strong second half, audio wise. But I did see a comment that I did want to bring up. Where was it? There's so many coming through. Literally hundreds of people on the stream.
Read some of them out.
Oh,
let's hear them.
Ashton, that's Kathy. Kathy, isn't
Yeah,
it?
Kathy,
yeah, Kathy. Yeah. She said, "You guys look like you're at a press conference with your drinks facing the same way." So, kind of.
Kathy, it's the only time we'll be at a press conference, unless I've been released from bail and the boys are picking me up.
Parramatta Court. Righto. So Sunday Arvo this week, 4:05 p.m. It's going to be a stinker out at Parramatta, but it won't be here at the Orange Grove Hotel. It'll be nice and cool as it is right now. Feeling very comfortable in this air conditioning. So come watch the game live with us at the Orange Grove Hotel. Avoid the heat. If you haven't been here,
Unlike me, because I'm going to be stupid and most likely go.
yeah, but yeah, pack your sunscreen. Righto. We'll do the team list now. Run us through the back lines of both teams.
All right. So starting with the Tigers, Jahream Bula makes his return at fullback. Sania Taruva and Gerald Skelton are on the wings. Adam Dewey and Stafford Toa returns in the centres. Lockie Galvin and Jerome Luai are the halves. For the Eels, Isaiah Iongi is the fullback, with Sean Russell and Jordan Samarani making his debut on the wing. Will Penasini and Zach Lomax are in the centres. Dylan Brown and Ronald Volkman are the halves.
Righto. Roberto, what are your thoughts on the backline matchup?
Well, look, it's a decent backline, although it didn't look very good the other day against Melbourne. Obviously, there's a change there. I believe Simrani's in. I don't think he was there last week,
Yeah,
but
he's in.
He's in. He's a new one. We'll get onto the forwards later. But look, there's enough potency there. For me, the big one there is Dylan Brown. Dylan Brown's running game's amazing. Not worth 1.3 a year, but still enough to potentially destroy us. He seems to have pretty good games against us. And I'd expect Lomax with that big right foot step to, probably try and cause Adam a bit of trouble on our left edge. Other than that, mate, the Yongi's a potential good player. He scored a try against us in the trial 3 weeks ago. But look, it's just up to our boys to do the job. But nothing we can't handle, I hope. But we'll see what comes of it.
Yeah, I basically echo what Rob said. I think some of their most dangerous players, especially in attack, are Zach Lomax and Dylan Brown. Isaiah Iongi, while his potential hasn't been fully tapped yet, he does have a lot of it as well. So that's where I guess the threat is there. And just quickly, like you mentioned, we had the trial against Parramatta 3 weeks ago. It was. Now we're playing them again in round 2 of the season, and we're playing them again in April. It's just a weird quirk of the NRL draw and how it works.
Yeah, round 7. So it's 5 weeks apart.
Yeah, so we play them once in February in the preseason. We play them in March this weekend, and then we play them in April, Easter Monday. Like, we're playing the Eels 3 times in 3 months.
So we've got no excuse.
It's just very bizarre.
We're very used to them. We've got no excuse now.
Yeah, by the time we get to them on Easter Monday, we should be sweet.
Yeah.
Righto. Anything else in the back line, or head on to the forward pack? Oh, wrong way.
Anyone we didn't talk about who you are a little bit
We're only
concerned
talking about the Parramatta back
Josh?
line, aren't we? We're not talking about the West Side.
No, we're talking about both. We're doing, we're doing
I thought
together.
you said, what do you think of the
we're doing
Parramatta
together.
back line?
No, so the matchup. Both. Lockie Galvin. Who? No, Lockie Galvin. Let's talk about Lockie Galvin.
Well, Lockie
request.
Lockie had a blinder
OG.
against Parramatta at that ground last year, and obviously set up that try for Bula late in the game, having been in the sin bin. Look, I expect him to bounce back this week, but I just don't want people to expect him to be an absolute god. Like, just if he plays well, he plays well. But everyone's got to share the load, and I just feel that there's way too much pressure being put on him, because we have enough talent in that club now that the workload or the creative play has to be spread. We've got Appy there, we've got Jahream there, we've got Jerome Luai there. There's plenty of attack there. Terrell May is really good as well. So there's plenty there. Just
Taylor May.
Michael Shamus has reported that Taylor May were the favourites to get him, and I feel like I'm getting heckled here.
Yeah, it's like
it's throwing me off a little bit too. I'm a
comedy
little bit
club.
like, what am I listening out for?
I think he wants to come to us. I mean, Terrell May has explained that he'd love to play with his family members in the same team. So hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later. And we've got a couple of spots to fill at the moment. We might have another one if apparently Clemmer might be leaving in the next week. So there could be 3 spots available, which would be really good. One back, maybe a middle forward and an edge back row if we can find it. We don't know what's happening with Olam yet. It's all up in the air. Oh, not yet. No, not yet. No.
Right, take us through the forwards.
All right. So starting with the Tigers again, our front rowers are Terrell May and Fanua Pole. The return of our fearless leader, Api Koroisau at hooker. Samuela Fainu and Alex Seyfarth are in the second row with Alex Twal once again locking down. For the Eels, former Tiger Joe Offahengawe and Captain Junior Paulo are the front rowers with Brendan Hands at hooker. Sean Lane and Jack Williams are in the second row. I think it's a debut for Jack Williams as well, if I'm not mistaken. And Jermaine Hopgood locking down for them.
Not sure. I thought maybe Williams played against the Storm, but we can check that out.
I think Sean Lane. Maybe it's Sean Lane because he's returning from an injury or something he picked up.
Yeah, Lane wasn't
great.
there.
All right, thoughts on that matchup, both sides there, Rob?
There's plenty of second phase there. For me, Hopgood's the main guy. He is like offloading 2 out of 3 tackles pretty much, so he'll be hard to stop. Sean Lane's so tall, he can always get his arms free for an offload. Same with Junior Paulo. Old mate Joe Offringowie will want to play a good game against us. For us, it's pretty much the same pack as we had last time. I'd like to see a better game from Bole. I know he did a couple of good things, but he missed too many tackles. It wasn't the Bole that we expected. Terrell May was great. I'd just like to see us use him a bit better instead of just being a battering ram. So, for example, I know he takes a hit up on the first or second tackle, but we saw that he's got a really good offload in him. Like, use him on the third or fourth tackle, create a bit of second phase. Let one of the sort of no-names that's never going to offload the ball do a hit up, and just sort of use him at the better end of the sets. And hopefully Samuela gets a little bit more involved this week as well.
The comments are saying Williams did play last week.
No, it says no Williams. Williams did play last night.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Pity Tuolangi's drop, because if Tuolangi was there,
He's a turnstile.
I'd be a lot more confident. Like, Tuolangi can score a try, he can make a break, he can do a massive shot on a player, but his defence is absolutely woeful overall. And obviously that's been recognised by Jason Riles, and he's been given the flick. Actually, that New South Wales Cup pack of Parramatta looks pretty darn good with
we'll get to that.
Bryce Cartwright and Ryan Madison and a few others there.
Oh,
So
Madison's
in Regis as well. Yeah. Aaron?
Does he still get paid, Ryan Madison?
Yeah, I think one of the main threats for me is Junior Paulo. Obviously, their front row pairing of previous years was Paulo and Regan Campbell-Gillard, 2 of the most dangerous offloaders in the game. Parramatta, I think, were well and truly up there for most offloads last year, and it's basically on the back of those 2 plus their second rowers. So we need to, when we're tackling Paulo, we really need to make sure we lock him up, prevent the offloads in particular. As for the rest of it, yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with being settled for the forward pack being basically the same as last week, except for obviously Appy coming in for I've had a mental blank. What was his name? Who started? Tristan Hope. Obviously, that's a change I think is needed. Appy does so much for our team. I still remember the game against Manly last year at Leichhardt, where he basically picked the offside man, who was Jake Trebojevic, pointed at him, got the set restart, but it didn't matter because he went over and scored the try anyway. And just what he's able to do from dummy half, he's able to pick the right moments to try and make a break. Just got to make sure that the players on his team back him up. And I think Jahream is going to be key to that. Lockie's going to be key to that. The forwards need to be ready for potential offloads if he's able to get one away in those positions, just to keep trying to catch Parramatta on the back foot. There are so many defensive frailties in this Parramatta team that we saw come to the surface on Sunday. They were absolutely woeful and only really started being able to score points other than their first try once the Storm had started taking players off the field. And yeah, I think if we find some ways to get through them or around them, we should be in for a hopefully better day than last Friday was.
Right, Az, take us through the bench, Az.
Not yet.
One more week.
All right, so our bench is Talon De Silva, Royce Hunt, Jack Bird, and Sione Fainu. For Parramatta, it's Riley Smith, Matt Dury, Kidione Kaptoga, who I think is an ex-Tiger as well, and Sam Tuivati. Our reserves are 18th man Charlie Staines, Latu Fainu, Tristan Hope, Tony Suka, and Solomona Fa'atape. Parramatta's 18th man is Dan Kia. They also have Joash Papali'i, Wiramu Greg, Joey Lussick, and Charlie Geimer, who's also been dropped from last week's game.
All right, we'll just wait for Josh to get back in. Would you like me to read out the tip sheet? So
Just your mic's playing on this.
Okay. Well, we've done, we've asked Adele to give us a little bit of a tip sheet as into what he would do or what sort of game plan he would be looking at or how we should be playing Parramatta. So just from an overall team perspective, try and complete over 80% of sets, keep Parramatta distance sets out of yard under 40 metres, and try and keep them to under 8 offloads conceded, which I think is going to be very hard to do. Attack, kick to Semrani, both yardage kicks and in good ball. Good ball shape left side bias with lead shape on Lomax. Any fast play the ball or offload attack behind the markers. Our 6, 7 and 1 need to be on the front foot and support. And when the Eels bench are on, stay in the middle of the field, must control possession in this period. In terms of defence, control the ball in tackles, no offloads, surprising. Right edge, D, be aggressive on Longy and Penasini in shape. No space or passiveness when attacking our line. Kicks from 30 and 40 metres out to the centres and wingers must escort Lomax, which fair enough, he's probably the best aerial leaper in the game. Jahream win the contest and win the challenge in the air, hopefully. Left edge, Volkman will kick in behind us. Skelton needs to be on alert. So thanks to Adele for those tips. You guys got anything else to add about how we might be going about playing this game, given it's going to be, 36 or 38 degrees on Sunday?
Well, hoping we're not wearing the black jerseys.
And hopefully we might be getting, 20-minute quarters instead of 40-minute halves?
Yeah, what do you reckon, Az? Probably drink breaks?
Yeah, so I think they'll go with drinks breaks as opposed to playing the game in quarters. So with drinks breaks, they just stop the play wherever it is, somewhere around the 20 and 60-minute marks. There's no siren or anything that goes at those times, which stops the game and causes a brand new kickoff for the new quarter. So I think they'll go with the drinks breaks and try to keep the game flowing in that regard, or at least I hope they do. And usually if that happens, they also extend the halftime break by 5 minutes or something, I think it is. The main things I got out of watching the Para game on Sunday, the way the Storm were scoring their tries, their short-range tries, their little kicks, they were generally going down the Parramatta Eels' right edge. They were really targeting Lomax, I thought. And then they had some long ranges down the, left center and left edge of Para. So they kind of got them all ends up in that regard, dependent on whether they were, how far away from the line they were, where they sent the attack. And obviously, I think something else that could be really important for us is watching a lot of the Storm's kickoff receptions. They won out hit-ups for a tackle or two, and then getting it to an edge and then swinging it all the way to the other edge on the third really got them some meters and put Parramatta on the back foot. They got some really quick play the balls through that time as well, and were able to really make some inroads down their left edge, so Parramatta's right. So yeah, lots of ways we can target their defense, and obviously we've just got to make sure our defense is up to scratch, because obviously they're going to be extremely desperate to fix what they did wrong on Sunday. They will come out pretty fired up, I think, and it's up to us to maintain the intensity throughout the game. Obviously, that's going to be really tough in conditions above 36 degrees, but I think if we can hang in there, stay in the grind, it's going to be a really close game, I think, but I think we can come over the top of them in the end.
Do you think a lot of people saying in the comments as well, the bounce back factor, that teams do play well after getting their asses kicked, but still with no Moses, their captain, their leader, out? You've said before the New South Wales Cup, a few regulars are down there that they're used to playing with. I don't know. Is it 100% a give? I hope it's not. That the Eels, they might come out and want to play for Riles, but I don't know. Is it really a given? I just feel like the vibes of Parramatta are just, they're kind of exhausted. They made the grand final 2 years ago, and it's just plummeted since. And they're gonna maybe it's more hope than
It would be nice to
Yeah.
put a number on them or just beat them, period.
Mm.
It'd be nice to put a number on them just so that some of our greatest young talent know that it's not a destination club. So that'd be, you know, I don't want Parramatta getting one up on us there because I really want this win this week. You know, like I said earlier, maybe when the mics weren't working, I can't imagine the hysteria if we're down, you know, if we've lost our first two games, it'd be really tough to take for everyone involved in the club because they did work hard last week. They just didn't get the result. Look, they've got a new coach. They're fighting for confidence as well, Parramatta. So it's really important to probably get off to a start like we did last week. But I'm, you know, look, I'm just a nervous fan, man. And as I said last week, I'm pretty scarred. So I sort of lose a bit of faith in if we can win, if we know how to win, and if we can know how to win regularly. I hope the boys bounce back this week. I'm sure Benji's given them a rev up. They would have been devastated after last Friday night.
Yep.
So hopefully the boys do it, and we go to play the Dolphins in round 3 with a chance to go 2-1.
Righto, player ratings for last week. So if you want to take part in that, I'll send it out. Hopefully with a link that actually works. That was a bit of a disaster. I had to resend that out. But thank you to all of you that sent in their rants. I'll read out some of the best ones in a second. But they also rated every player out of 10. And here are the averages for each player. So Heath Mason, 5.6. Sunia Taruva, 6.5. Adam Dwayne, 5.5. Solomon Fatape down at 4.3. Jarrell Skelton, 7.9. Lachlan Galvin, 5.0. Jerome Luai, 6.1 in his first game. Terrell May was, as expected, the highest number. He had 8.8. Tristan Hope, 5.8. Fanil Pole, 6.7. Samuel Fainu, only 4.3. Alex Safar, 4.7. Twali, 6.4. And then from the bench, Talon da Silva, 6.4. Royce Hunt, 6.4. Jack Bird, 6.1. And Sione Fainu, 5.8. So the player ratings are back for a year. We didn't do the rating. So the player ratings, for those who don't know, including Terry, manager of the Orange Grove Hotel. So, okay, so the player rate, we do a player ratings poll after every game, and each player they rate out of 10. So those scores are the averages of each. So if someone rates
they
1
fill
10,
out the form and email the form back to us, and we just work out the average.
So if there's 1 10 and 1 1, they get a 5. So no, it's a Microsoft Excel did this one. Yeah. No, Aaron doesn't do it on a piece of paper. But
It'd take a while if we got 100+ responses.
Yeah, exactly, which we often do. So as any standouts for you, whether too high or too low?
I think it's actually fairly accurate all around, all things considered. A lot of the players who I thought were, I guess, middle of the range were rated as such. Most of our backs were a little bit of a mixed bag. I thought, obviously, Luai 6.1. I might have rated him a little bit higher, maybe 7.5. He had a few bad options, but that'll come in time. Some of his effort plays, particularly one that stopped a try in the first half, off a Ponga break, were exceptional as well, and were a big reason why we were able to keep them scoreless at halftime. Heath, I thought, might have gotten ranked a little bit higher than that. He only had, I think, 2 drops throughout the game. Obviously Terrell May, outstanding. I think he played the entirety of the first half again, I think, didn't he?
He did.
Did he come back on the field at the start of the second half, or did he go off at halftime?
No, he came off at halftime. They wouldn't count it as coming off. So yeah, he was off. He was off.
And obviously the Knights scored both of their tries during the time where Terrell was off field. Coincidence? I think not.
Any standouts for you, Rob?
No, I think the numbers are pretty right. I know Terrell May's 8.8. I actually think it should have been higher.
Yeah.
I don't know how much more you can get. And I probably thought Twali should be a little bit more because, I mean, he pretty much had a faultless game. He did miss a tackle, made a couple of offloads. Skelton's is pretty high, 7.9.
Maybe.
No, he made 210 metres and his first game for the club. Yeah, it's a pretty good yardage effort for a winger.
Well, you find with these players are often rated on a scale. So, yeah, so someone like Jerome Luai, they're going to people will mark much harsher than an Alex Seyfarth or although
Do you want
he
to
got
touch on these guys individually?
yeah,
Just for a
go for
second?
it. Yeah, go for it.
You got anything like you want to just chime in after me?
Yeah, I've got
Aaron?
a couple
So-
of things to say about a couple
So
of
we'll
players.
just go through them from 1 to 17. So for Mason, I just wrote down he was really quite good most of the game. Unfortunately, the 2 drop bombs and 3 missed tackles, considering he didn't make a tackle, sort of undid a lot of his good work. And you know, the second drop bomb where Ponga contested it with him actually ended up resulting in a try, and that's the difficult thing for a fullback or in such a key position. If you make a mistake or you're the last line of defence, that's really telling because it turns into points where maybe a forward can miss a tackle and another forward just makes that tackle for him. Yes. And yeah, so anything to add about Mason, Aaron?
No, I just said a little bit about Heath.
Skelton, a tremendous game. His hands are really good. He had great yardage, great finish for our try. And, you know, after one game, he looks like he's going to be a really great buy.
Just on Skelton's try as well, I think the thing that impressed me most was the strength in which he was able to push the defenders out of the way. And I said to Josh in the grandstand watching that replay, that's something that we haven't had a lot of in recent times. We haven't had wingers with the strength to be able to do that. Like I wouldn't have imagined Charlie Staines, for example, being able to score that try in that same way.
Yeah.
As Jahream did. And I think that's something that's going to be really important throughout the season. His ability to bust a couple of tackles on his way to and like pushing players out of the way to just using that brute strength to score the try. And I think we'll see a fair few more of those throughout the year.
Fair enough. With Adam, I mean, look, his stats look good. He didn't really do much in attack. I don't know if it was because it was lack of opportunity or he's probably just not an out-and-out centre. Like he did the last pass to Skelton, obviously, so that's a try assist. I'm still concerned about him defensively. The stats will say that he only missed 1 tackle, and that's because there are a couple of other tackles where he didn't get a finger on the player, so that doesn't count as a miss. But look, he played okay. His goal kicking is really good. I found it strange that he was being used as a battering ram after penalties to take the tap and just do the hit up on his own. I thought that was a bit weird, and no one was even going up with him when he did the hit up, just in case he could find an offload. So that was a little bit surprising for me. Aaron, you got anything to add on Adam?
Yeah, I'm just trying to pull something up really quickly. So normally in the stats on NRL.com, you've got not only tackles and missed tackles, but you've also got ineffective tackles.
Okay.
Or something like that. Yeah, so ineffective tackles are over here. Adam had 2 of those as well as 1 missed. So, I mean, ineffective tackles, I don't know how they define the difference between missed and ineffective. Maybe ineffective is if they're tackling a player and the player gets an offload away or
probably sound
something along those lines. Or there's probably a few more
can
than
find
that
that out
because
for sure.
there's a lot of ineffective tackles here and the Knights didn't offload that many times.
Yeah. With Fata Ape, look, he was exposed positionally in defence a few times. I will say he did make 1 great covering tackle. Actually made a few good tackles, but unfortunately he still missed a few. His yardage carries were quite good. Along with Taruva, I just felt he was starved of the ball. And with Taruva, I thought he did enough in his first game. Like it wasn't groundbreaking or wowee sort of stuff, but you can tell he's going to be a good purchase. What about you there, Aaron? You got anything to say about Fata Ape or Taruva?
Yeah, Fatape, it was a little bit concerning seeing him shoot out of the line a couple of times, obviously trying to go for an intercept or something along those lines. But that obviously had us found out down that side of the field defensively a couple of times and gave the Knights a couple of easy paths down the touchline to get, I mean, I think a couple of times like 20, 25 meters out of plays. And those can prove to be really costly. And I hope there's always a time to shoot out of the line. And I think when the Knights have their line set and they really look like they're attacking, probably isn't the best time. I think probably one of the better times is if they try the Harbour Bridge pass, because that's the one where if you're in a good enough position, you can jump up, intercept that, and take that down the other end. But yeah, I was a little bit concerned about some of the defensive decisions he made, which left us a little bit stranded.
We spoke about Lockie earlier in silence, I believe. But yeah, on Lockie, I thought, like as I said, he ran for 148 meters. He had 4 offloads, 4 missed tackles. kicking game wasn't the best, but he's going to improve on that. It was just, one of those nights. I think Lockie needed to take a big lead just to kind of let Jahream kind of find his feet a little bit. There's definitely a little bit of confusion or lack of cohesion amongst them, and sort of like, who's wanting the ball and who's first receiver, who's second receiver. That'll sort itself out in time. And on Jahream Lua, I thought it was a good first game. We mentioned that effort on Ponga. And also, though, he did have a couple of kicks that weren't the best. And as Adele said Sunday night, with Penrith, he just knuckles every kick. With us, he had a couple of, one off the side of the foot and one that created a 7-tackle set. Do you have anything to add on the halves, Aaron?
No, but I think we've pretty much covered everything there. I think they just need to be given a little bit more time to develop the combination. Obviously, like has been said, it was Luai's first game since he didn't trial at all. Lockie obviously hadn't had a chance to build the combination yet, and obviously with the 2 new spine members coming back in this week, it's going to take a little bit of time.
On to the forwards. So obviously we've agreed Terrell May was our best player. We couldn't have asked for anything more. I'd like to, as I said earlier, see him carry, maybe do a carry later in the set where he can use that offload. Other than that, I thought he was fantastic. Tristan Hope, look, he was thrown in the deep end to start that game. We all expected him to come off the bench. He did get lost a little bit just before that knock on from Alex Twal, but I'd actually like to see him get another chance. I truly believe that confusion in the red zone in the first half was just due to the halves not actually sort of telling him where to be, what to do. He didn't know where he should be passing that next play. So I don't think he's a cup player. I think he actually is a first grader, but it wasn't his greatest game, but he didn't let anyone down. Did you want to add anything on Hope or Terrell May there, Aaron?
No, I thought Tristan was really good. Obviously, he found out a little bit the hard way that there's very much a different speed to the game going from Queensland or New South Wales Cup into first grade. But I thought he held his own fairly well. Wasn't able to do anything extraordinary. Didn't really get too many chances to try and pick on offside defenders, except for one where he had them done completely, but didn't get rewarded for it, which I thought was a bit of a shame.
Fanua Bole, 25 tackles made, 7 missed, which is very un-Fanua-like. I do want to focus on one positive, though. That tackle he made on Schiller in cover defence when Schiller had beaten about 3 or 4 players already, that was absolutely magnificent. I know if your memory goes back this far, guys, but 2009, the infamous clash with Parramatta and the West Tigers at the football stadium with the Hayne plane and Benji and the Magic Chip and Chase and all
Jimmy
that.
Molson,
It reminded me of Bryce Gibbs when he did a covering tackle on Jared Hayne just as the plane was taking off. But look, I think we need better than from Pole. He's better than that, and I don't think that's good enough at all. On to Samuel. I've literally got 5 words here. Couldn't get into the game. What about you, Aaron? You got anything to add on Samuel?
That sums it up pretty well. It was really hard to notice Samuel because he just didn't really get the opportunities that basically got him the Kelly Barnes Award last year.
Yeah, and this was the politest thing. Again, I don't want to be personal on any players or anything like that, but Alex Seyfarth, my notes on that were not the answer at right edge. And I think that's just the politest way I can put it. I know what you guys thought of Alex on the right edge.
A lot of the time when Seyfarth got the ball down that side, the attack kind of died with him, or he sent it back in field again, which really I thought kept Fa'atape and Taruva out of the game in attack, and it was a bit of a shame because I think we would have been able to be a lot more multidimensional. Would have caused the Knights a few more problems had those guys been in the game a little bit more.
Alex Twal, 108 metres, 34 tackles, none missed, 2 offloads. Really solid game, and he's in my points this week. I thought it was, by Twaley's standards, that's as good as you're going to get out of him. And I'd like, hope we get to see plenty more of those offloads. I guess you agree with that too, Aaron?
Yeah, it's good to see him developing a little bit more of an attacking game. The offloads is something that Alex really didn't have as part of his arsenal in recent seasons, but I'm really glad that he's been able to obviously develop that a little bit. Maybe he's gotten a little bit of confidence from his record of 2 tries in his career though so far.
Talon De Silva, look, he looked really threatening from marker at times, particularly in the second half. His defence was found out, and like Adele said Sunday night, he's coming from SG ball to first grade. He hasn't had New South Wales Cup or Queensland Cup experience or anything like that. So we've got to give him a bit of leeway there. He's only young. 29 tackles and 6 missed. Now, one of the, well, as Benji called him, the cult hero, Royce Hunt, gave us momentum. We got 30 minutes out of him, which is fantastic, but the way we got it out of him is probably the only way we're going to get it out of him. It was 12-minute stint, 8-minute stint, I think it was, and then after half-time, like we'd use 12 minutes, half-time break, another roughly 10-minute stint came off, and then another roughly 10-minute stint. It's just, it's a little bit concerning that, a first grader's like struggling to put more than 12 minutes in a row before needing a rest, but the way they did use him to maximise his minutes, given he averaged 21 minutes last year, that's a great sign as well.
Yeah, he's obviously had a little bit of work done on his fitness over the off-season. Hopefully we can get a little bit more out of him as the season goes, but I think it was a solid debut from Big Roycey.
Another solid debut was Jack Bird. I thought he gave us a lot of punch with the ball when he came on the field. Again, though, he did have some missed tackles. I'm just looking at him now. He's made 27 tackles, 6 missed. He ran for 90 metres. Personally, I don't think he's going to be able to handle the workload for a full year. It's just too much. I'd like to see him on the right edge in place of Seyfarth. I don't know who'd replace who you put in the middle at lock, but again, that's up to Benji and the coaching staff to sort that out. And Sione's stats are actually quite okay, like nothing special. He's only made 22 metres, but he's made 10 tackles, none missed. Didn't do anything wrong, and obviously he's still a bit of a work in progress. You got anything to add to that? I thought it was just an okay performance. Like, he did his job. He didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what you want from your bench forwards mostly, is them doing their job. And someone like Sione, who hasn't played as much first grade as Sam Weller, and he's obviously in a different position being the front row. If your bench forwards are doing their job and holding down the fort, then I think that's really all you can ask of them a lot of the time, especially if they don't have much more of a designated role than that.
Josh, you got any team stats, or do you want me to read some of them?
No, go for it.
Okay, so just in terms of team stats, guys, West Tigers completed 31 of 39 sets, opposed to the Knights 27 sets out of 42. They, according to the TV, they were only 53% of completions at halftime, which means we probably should have been a bit further ahead. We made 1,700 metres exactly. They made 1,817 metres. We had 1 line break. The Newcastle Knights made 7 line breaks. We won the penalties 7-6. They're pretty much the key stats. We mentioned the play the ball speed earlier, I think, Josh. I hope we had audio at that time when we mentioned it. But if you didn't hear it earlier, we were half a second slower on average in every play the ball, which is not very good at all. But hopefully that will be rectified and we can do a bit better against Parramatta in hot conditions on Sunday.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, those are all the stats that I thought were really important out of the game. The line breaks one was obviously the most concerning, but that's why we were doing so well to scramble. I think 16 offloads for us, 11 for the Knights. It was a very offload-heavy game. Struggling to wrap the ball up, I think, has been a little bit of a downfall for us as a club in recent years. The Knights were able to force 2 dropouts. I think we attempted to kick short on both of them. We were only able to force 1. And I think they tried to kick short on that as well. So the short kicks from the dropouts are back in full swing again. We were a little bit worse in the tackle efficiency, obviously making, we made less tackles, but we missed more. So that's going to be a bit of an issue there. The Knights made 16 errors for the game. We made 7. And I mean,
that's quite alarming, those missed tackles, 51 to 26. That's
that is very concerning.
Basically double. If my microphone's not working, Josh,
it's working. It's working.
It's a very bad episode, let me tell you, because I've been doing most of the talking.
No,
you've been great. You've been on fire.
Thank you.
It's sounding good. Sounding good now.
What do you want to do next, Josh?
What are we up to next?
We've done the player ratings.
3, 2, 1. So 3, 2, 1s for this week. Run us through yours, Az.
So I've gone Terrell May, the 3. I thought he was sensational. Excellent club debut. Really gave us back a lot of what we got from Stefano and more when Stefano was playing really well before he fell off. Giraffe Skelton got my 2. I thought he was brilliant as well. And Alex Twal got the 1 for me. And I think the most impressive thing about Twal for me is the fact that he played multiple positions. So he started the game at lock. When Jack Bird came onto the field into lock, Twal stayed on the field moving into the front row. And so we basically got 2 stints for the price of 1 out of Twal in 2 different positions before he went off to the bench for his first break. And I was really impressed, like I said before, with what Twal was able to bring to the game. And yeah, so May, Skelton, Twal.
I got nothing to add to that because they're identical to mine. So yeah, May, Skelton, and 12.
So based on your averages, we had May 3, Skelton 2, and I've got to remove my number 1 was Swally was
Polo,
no,
I
it was
think.
Polo. Yeah,
Polo?
so I'm hiding Polo on the screen there. Yeah, the people liked Polo. So
I certainly do.
so the totals 9 for May, 6 for Skelton, 2 for Twally, and 1 for Polo. That's the yeah.
So the way you do those 3-2-1s for the crowd is the highest average votes, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the three highest averages worked out to be that. So righto, moving on to the greatest comment or the best comments, with including 2 that we'll pick to be our Orange Grove voucher winners. So Ryan said, the Luai and Galvin combination needs Latu Fainu. Personally, I'd like to see Bird move to centre or second row forward, whichever persists to be problematic in defence. Fainu or Galvin can play as a ball-playing lock after Twal absorbs opening 20 minutes in defence. Latu, I don't buy into the notion that Bird is too slow in defence. Centre, he's pieced up. He pieced us up last year as a centre, playing fairly freely so far this year. I just need to remove my little banner so I can actually
read it.
Yeah, I'm covering. Yeah.
You missed that third little paragraph too there, Josh. Was
did
that
I? I'm on
deliberately?
fire tonight, aren't I? It's,
It's all right. We'll keep you going.
Yeah. Kane, this is my brother. He said my brother's got a bit of a man crush on Taylor May.
Do you want Aaron to read it?
Yeah, you be my brother.
Yeah, you read it out because your writing's bigger on your screen.
Take it easy. First game with a new squad. It'll take a few weeks for combos to come together. Terrell May, weapon, but worried that we burn him out with the minutes he played this week.
Will Kane be watching tonight?
I haven't seen him in the comments, but he'll probably listen.
Kane, I've been taking it easy for 13 years. All right, don't tell me to take it easy. Don't tell all of us to take it easy.
He wasn't.
Okay, we need a win.
He's referring to. He was in the comments. Got in the other night fighting with someone that was bagging out the team. And he was kind of going in. He's not talking about us.
Okay,
he's talking about the people in the comments.
Well, just in case someone didn't listen to Sunday night, just want to reiterate that we had 5 new players in our 18-man named team, and we had 9 players that have played less than 30 games. So, that's when you add 9 and 5 new players, and then you got the 4 players that are left over, which would have been Twal, Safar, Ole, and Dewey. Like, it does take time for combinations to work. But that said, I don't think that's enough excuse for what we saw in the second half in attack. That's what you work all for. We came last year. We need to work as hard as everyone else to get that right, and I hope we get a big bounce back on Sunday.
Do you want to read the rest of these?
Yeah,
Josh.
You go for it, Az.
So Alex Roz said, you got to put shit on the soil to let the shoots grow. Our new and improved squad had remnants of a dark past that we haven't been able to shake over the last few years. Alas, the shit has now been laid, bearing nutrients to the shoots that will come forth and blossom into the rest of the season. Glimpses of greatness in the game, albeit the slow, lackluster and clunky plays for a large portion of the match. We saw Terrell really take a stand. He will be insanely good for us this year. Skelton brought an energy to that wing spot that we have been yearning for since Tuiaki. Tito looked good, but barely managed to get the ball. Both Hunt and Bird had an impact on the game. Hunt off the back fence is a sight to be seen, but we need more of it.
Yeah, I liked Alex. Alex would have been my pick, but I didn't pick the winner. Sorry, Alex.
Well, we've got plenty of shit to use for fertilizer, don't we?
I quite liked Alex's. Right,
The shit that we talk about, or
who?
This is your winner.
Who's your winner? Az?
Yep. So this is my winner, Cam B. A lot of butthurt fans venting online. We are a 3-time spoon-winning team who lost to finalists in round 1 by 2 points while missing half our first choice spine. Missed tackles and fitness broke us late in the game, but we didn't concede before halftime, and there was effort, not to be confused with execution. So to all of the Chicken Little fans who believe the sky is falling, relax, take a breath, and try not to die too early from a stress-related illness. We've got this. And Cam, I chose that because I think after the game and the fact that it was, like you said, it was just round one against a finalist from last year, there has been a lot of overreaction and a lot of panic from a lot of fans, particularly on social, such as Twitter, that I've just seen so much of. And I think, the fan base really needed to hear what you had to say. So,
And Cam, I'll send you an email on how to claim your $20 voucher for the Orange Grove Hotel. And Rob, you've chosen Kim, who's
Aaron, you're welcome to
in
read
the
that out
comments
for
at the
me,
moment.
mate.
So
It's
Kim,
probably a bit easier.
you've got a $20 voucher.
And just before you read Kim's, I just want to say all the comments we got that we read out and the detail that they
Some of
went
them are
into,
essays,
some of them are
yeah.
essays. They were absolutely fantastic. So honestly, like we read every one of them, and it was so hard to pick which ones to put. But I think we kind of wanted to choose, let's just say, the least negative ones for the moment, like the maybe less. We didn't want to pick the ones that sort of bagged individual players or coaching or anything like that. You leave the bagging of coaching to me, but so anyway, I'll let you read out.
I like swear words,
Aaron.
but I wasn't judging.
I agree that there's no need to be so doom and gloom so early. It's round one of a 27 round season. We've still got 23 more games to play. There's a lot of the season still to go. A lot of time needed potentially for the combinations to develop. I personally hope it doesn't take too long, but we have to be a little patient, unfortunately. And it is what it is. And obviously we've had a lot of changes to coaching in the last decade or so. And a lot of the time we basically we find ourselves having to start again from scratch. And that's why I think so many of us are not as patient as we probably should be. But in saying that, I think if we're able to keep the bulk of the players we've got together now for as long as we can, barring any retirements like Appy whenever he's ready to hang up the boots, then the longer we have these guys together, the better we'll get. Anyway, Kimar, still having trouble scoring points. We scrambled well, but still 52 missed tackles. Newcastle were really off their game in the first half, which flattered us. It will take time for our new players to gel, be better for the run, and next week get Appy and Bula back. Skelton was very good, and May was best on field. This is one game we let slip from our grasp.
So Kim, we'll shoot us. Kim's DM'd us. Shoot us a DM, Kim, and I'll send you your voucher to the Orange Grove
Put you on
Hotel.
the spot,
Kim's
Josh.
in the chat tonight as well.
I feel like we've given Kim.
Yeah,
awards
she
before.
won
She
a
seems to
previous
be-
sponsor. She got a voucher as well.
Seems to
Yeah,
always come up with a lot of really comments that resonate with me. Anyway,
good on you, Kim.
If I remember rightly, Kim might have been the first person we actually had as a winner of
of a previous
Of a previous,
establishment.
previous establishment that we remain
Yeah, we
unnamed.
don't. Yeah, we'll leave them out.
Righto, tips and Rostradamus for the week.
Oh gosh.
Righto, let me bring up the games. Dolphins v Knights. So Az and I going Knights. You'll go on the Finns.
Yeah,
Righto.
I'm going the Dolphins because Newcastle didn't deserve to win last week. So I hope it all falls on their face this week and they lose at home and feel the misery that I felt last Friday night after we lost at home.
it's a spite tip, is
It's
it?
100% a
Shut 'em.
spiteful tip. And you know what, they do have a lot of flair, both back lines. So it's actually going to be a great game to watch. And I think it'll be really tight. But as Adele keeps referring to Ponga as the indicator, okay, if they stop Ponga, I think they're 3/4 of the way to winning the game. And they're not disrupted this week. They'll have their full team. They had to leave 3 or 4 players home last week. Jahream, Mark Nichols. There was a few others that missed out on the team. They'll be joining the team
I
this
can't
week,
remember who they all were.
So they'll get their team back this week.
I wish the Knights were a BMW last week, so they didn't use the indicator. Next game is the Wars v Manly. So over in New Zealand, there we've all gone. Am I right? Did I miss a game?
No,
that's right.
Manly.
New Zealand and Manly in New Zealand.
We've all gone Manly. We've all gone Manly.
It's just hard to go past
Yeah.
them. I'm sure New Zealand will bounce back, but how do you go past Manly after what they did the other night? They were so impressive, as impressive as any team, really.
They just took the foot off the throat a little bit early, and I think they probably would have copped a bit of a reaming from their coach about that. But yeah, even though the Wars are at home, it's tough to see them doing much of anything this week. I just don't see them getting much out of Metcalf at the moment. I'd be interested to see if he's able to prove me wrong, but there's still a bit of a work in progress there in the post Sean Johnson era. Josh, if you want to keep mentioning the matchups, I can keep mentioning who we've each tipped. So
Yep,
you're staying on the one screen.
Yeah. Peek behind the curtain there. Roosters paying $8 to beat the Penrith Panthers in Penrith.
They should be $80.
I've never seen the Roosters at odds like that. It's
Crazy.
insane just to see how far they've fallen.
It's awful for them, but honestly, isn't it wonderful?
It's
I'm sure we got no
a
Roosters
thing
fans
of
watching.
beauty.
Yeah,
It's absolutely a thing of
honestly
beauty.
enjoy them losing as much as I enjoy us winning, maybe even more. I can't stand them. They're such salary cap cheats.
We've all tipped the Panthers.
Yeah, we've all tipped the
100%.
Panthers that one.
Dragons playing the Rabbitohs. I think it's in Wollongong.
Yeah, it's in Wollongong. So Josh,
Tough
you
one, this.
and Rob have both picked the Dragons, and I've picked the Rabbits.
Rabbitohs are $2.70 outsiders. I was tempted to tip. I don't know my thing is, if in doubt, I go home team, and they're playing in Wollongong. I don't know statistically if they're better down there.
They were really good in Wollongong last year. I think
Yeah.
they only lost one of their 5 or so games they played down there. So they
You
had
got the stats in your head. I just pick on vibes.
Another even matchup, but I can't imagine how hard Flanagan would have ripped them in the dressing room after the game. Saints did finish pretty well. They got 3 of the last 4 tries or thereabouts. So
how good was Jacob Little when he came on for his stint? He was sensational.
yeah, he's trying.
Was it you guys that said we're the only game this week? It's loser v loser.
Yeah, I
No,
said it.
Rob said
You
that.
said it. That was
But I corrected him because there was
Why?
another one.
What's the other one?
The next one, the Cowboys and the Sharks. You forgot about the
Sharks.
Sharks because
They
they
lost in
played in
Vegas.
I think
Vegas.
that's Las Vegas. That doesn't. What happens
still
in
round-
Vegas stays
they're
in
on
Vegas.
zero
Mate.
points.
That doesn't
It's
count.
still round 1,
Oh,
Rob.
that's
Okay.
like round -2. but
Revenge
okay,
of Stats Man
you're
got you
right.
back there.
You're right. Okay. Well, the only 2 winners are Canberra and Brisbane. Am I wrong there?
No, you are not wrong there.
Okay.
That was correct, but I had to, and I tagged you in the Discord, but I don't think you
I'm trying
you
to
didn't
let
reply
all
to
your
me.
stats man stuff filter onto me. So it's nice when you can give some opinion or whatever with the stats behind it.
Cowboys at home $3.10.
Yeah, I'm going Cronulla.
Yeah.
I know it's going to be really, really hot up there. I don't care how bad he played. I don't know how you drop Nanai. Like dropping Nanai from that team, he's literally their most.
Did he get dropped,
potent
did he?
forward. Yeah, he got dropped.
Yeah, he's been dropped.
Wow.
He's been dropped. So I'll go Cronulla for sure.
Bateman have his
Bateman,
stinker.
yeah,
How did Bateman play last week? I didn't see the
Okay,
Cowboys.
yeah.
Hardly noticed him.
Yeah.
I think he made a couple of errors too. But yeah, we've all gone the Sharks. I think fairly straightforward to go the Sharks in this one. The Cowboys, I'm going to reserve judgment on the Cowboys. Obviously, they had a couple of ACL injuries preseason, which didn't help their chances this year. But what they dished up against Manly, especially for the first half, absolutely woeful, and they need to be a lot better if they're going to try and get back into the finals this year. I mean, they finished 5th last year, and they looked like a shadow of the team that got them to 5th place last year.
Raiders are $4.20 at home against the Broncos.
Yeah, I think that's crazy odds. I know we've all tipped the Broncos, but
10.5 start.
like physically and in terms of like the size of the forwards and the backs, I actually think the Raiders do match up very well. I don't think Brisbane centres are. I don't think Dean Mariner's a centre, period. I think Dean Mariner should be on the wing. So I think he's a little bit of a liability in defence, but attack-wise, they're amazing. But Canberra were very impressive, albeit against New Zealand.
We're favourites. We're favourites for Sunday.
Yep.
I know.
How does that work?
When was the last time we won as favourites? Honestly, I should have thrown that on.
2005 grand final.
Yeah, you should have asked me that.
Surely you'd
A
know
while
that, 'cause
ago.
We've never like every time we're favourites, we lose.
I don't think we won as favourites
It feels
last
like that
year.
anyway.
Were we favourites last year ever?
Maybe once or twice for a home game.
Maybe a
Maybe
Leichhardt game?
Stouse at Campbelltown. Could we have been
Maybe a
favourites that night?
Leichhardt
They were
game.
missing
I
players.
don't think we were favourites that night.
Did we play at Leichhardt last year?
Cronulla.
We weren't
Nah,
favourites for
no
that.
way.
We
No,
lost
we
to the
weren't.
Raiders in
Cronulla.
one.
Gold
Gold
Coast.
Coast.
Yeah, Gold Coast.
We
round
might have
one,
been
we weren't
favourites for Gold
that.
Coast.
No,
Yeah.
we
But we
weren't.
lost.
had the
Well, we
youngest
lost in
team
that.
ever.
No,
that
we
day.
beat the Titans.
We beat the Titans.
We beat
had
the-
a very young team that
No, I don't remember.
We
Yeah.
wouldn't have been favourites that day, surely.
I don't know.
No.
I don't think last year. I think we might have won a game as favourites in 2023.
If anyone out there knows, let
Yeah.
us know while we're
Let us know.
doing. I'm going to say we didn't win as favourites last year.
Gaz is saying we're a West Tigers podcast, but we're tipping Parramatta. No, Az and I have a look at his.
Parramatta.
Yeah, Rob's a. Don't blame Az and
Yeah.
I. We tip the
Why
Tigers.
would I tip the Tigers? I need
Faith.
I need to be my faith needs to be earned, not just be blind.
Well, I was a man of the cloth like myself. I'm all in.
And let me tell you, if the Tigers win this week, then I'm definitely not tipping the Tigers any other week. so I can be given the jinx
It's
curse.
emotional hedging.
100%.
And then last game, Doggies are playing the Titans. So
At Belmore.
Doggies At Belmore.
So that's something important to note there.
Yeah.
And all three of us have tipped the Doggies.
Yeah, $2.80 for Gold Coast seems like short.
They've got points. They've
Yeah.
definitely got points in them, the Gold Coast, but Bulldogs were pretty impressive the other day. They were
Yeah,
very
that's
slick.
what I mean.
They didn't defend as well as they did last year, and that was the cornerstone of what got them back into the finals last year. It's really tough to judge the Titans at the moment, considering it's their first game. I'm pretty sure they came down to Sydney yesterday because their training base was completely underwater from the cyclone. So they had to move down to Sydney to start preparing for their game and actually be able to train properly. But yeah, really tough to judge them considering we haven't seen them yet.
It's very rare that any team hasn't won a game after round 4 or 5. I mean, unfortunately, we've done it a couple of times, but so what I'm trying to say is an upset is pretty possible. Like,
Yeah, it's
you get
tough
a
this time of year.
in a couple of weeks, you'll have a 2-0 team playing an 0-2 team, and the 0-2 team wins. It just seems to
Yeah,
level itself
Parramatta-
out sometimes.
Parramatta getting flogged by the Storm, isn't unexpected, really. The Storm are just, they're in their stride.
I know there's a bounce back factor, but we can also hope that it actually can crush their
Cripple them.
confidence.
Yeah,
And that's what I'm hoping for,
let's hope
even
so.
though I still tipped them.
Hope so. New South Wales Cup, they lost 36-10 on the weekend. It was only 4-6 at halftime. But yes, again, both grades, crappy second half. So the Knights ran in, 5 tries in the second half. The game got away from us. They're playing against the Eels. I believe it's at Wenty on Sunday. I don't know why wouldn't they just play this at Combank Stadium before. They're literally playing at 2 o'clock on Sunday.
For some reason, they seem to find ways to not make them double headers
Yeah.
as often as they can. Like, this would just be a perfect double header.
Well, at least put this
2 o'clock and 4 o'clock.
or something. Yeah, but
I mean, it would be the hottest part of the day at 2 o'clock. So,
yeah,
I mean, but it's
In
still
Wenty.
going to be hot wherever they're playing.
yeah. I'm almost certain it's at Wenty. Stainsy's a fullback for this one. Our halves are Lasu Fainu and Heath Mason, which is interesting. So,
Did Heath grow up playing halfback? Coming through the lower grades?
Not sure. Someone in the comments might.
I thought I might. I
Just
think
out
I might
there.
have seen something along those lines from NBWT on
Yeah,
Twitter.
I know. That's saw someone mentioned the other day. They reckon would make a good 14. So, we'll see. Tristan Hope's obviously back down there. Ruben Porter in the back row. Suka, Kit Lolly is in the forwards there. So plenty to watch there. And yeah, I didn't realise there's a few. Yeah, Hayes Dunster's there for Eels. What other names? Recognisable names are in there. Ryan Madison, as you said, Kamotualagi in the forwards. Bryce Cartwright. So yeah, plenty of first grade experience there in the Eels. So that'll
Charlie
be
Geimer, who was another player who was dropped after the Storm game at lock.
So that's the thing too. You throw so many players in and out of a team so quickly. I mean, but you could also argue that Eels will have players that are getting a chance and want to impress. So,
But they're not losing anything, dropping Kelmer to Alongi and bringing in Sean Lane. Sean Lane's a
Yeah,
regular
yeah,
back
Sean,
rower.
Sean Lane
Lane's
was
a great
going to be in
player.
their team
Yeah,
as
he
soon as
always
he's
comes
fit.
up.
Regardless,
It was just a matter of who they were going to drop for him, and
Yeah.
Tuolangi made the best option for that.
SG Ball, Balmain got up 30-22 over the Doggies, so they're in the top 4 still. The Maggies got up as well. They beat the Warriors 22-18, so they're in 9th place this week. Lickham Oval on Saturday. Maggies playing Eels, and at Leichhardt, Balmain are playing the Chooks. In Harold Matts, the Magpies lost 34-10 to the Wars out at Camden. Balmain had the bye there this week. Tigers have the Wars, and that's at Leichhardt 2 as well. Yep, so 10 a.m. for the Harold Matts for the Balmain and 11:30 at Leichhardt. And then at Lickham Oval, 10:30 a.m. Magpies, Harold Matts, and 12 p.m. for the SG Ball. So get out to Lidcombe or Leichhardt on Saturday and so you can literally go watch. If the Balmain SG ball plays at 11:30, you can probably make it from Leichhardt to Parramatta between games. If you want to support, I'm sure plenty of players will, or plenty of fans will, rather. The girls, Tasha Gale and Lisa Fiaola, both had buys. They're both playing the Eels this week at Leichhardt as well. Right, so the girls are playing after.
Ladder position for the girls
teams.
update. So the Lisa Fiaola, which are the under 17s, they're currently 5th. I think it's a 16 finals in both women's grades, so still in and abouts there. They've got 3 wins and a bye, and the 2 points from the bye. So they're doing well. Doing even better than that are the Tasha Gale girls, who have 4 wins and a bye. They're in 3rd.
The MacArthur boys, they in the Laurie Daly Cup got up over the Rams out in Parks, 30-26. Andrew Johns Cup put 48 to 32. It's good defensive, 80 points in 80 minutes. Do they play
60 minutes?
Is it 60 minutes? Oh, wow. Okay.
The kids.
Wow, 80 points.
1.3 points
Well, they
a
won.
minute.
We won. Both grades we won, at least. I put the wrong team.
Hey,
in the
Melbourne scored
Cup. They're playing the
46 in
Bulldogs
40.
in Tuncurry. So if you want to head up to beautiful Foster Tuncurry to watch us play the North Coast Bulldogs. Statsman, what have you got for us?
So I've just got the stats about the 3 players that I had in my 3-2-1. So Terrell May, I thought was insane, like 65 minutes, 21 runs for 189 meters with 69 post contact, 2 tackle breaks, 5 offloads, made 34 tackles, didn't miss any. Skelton, 23 runs for his 210 meters that Rob mentioned before, 87 post contact meters, which is also really impressive. 5 tackle breaks. I think probably 3 of them were in the try he scored, and 1 line break. And typically when you score a try, even a close range one, if it's not off a kick, your try counts as a line break as well. Twal, we got 50 minutes out of him, 12 runs for 108 meters with 48 post contact. He also broke a tackle, made 2 offloads, and same defensive stats as Terrell, 34 tackles made for none missed.
I just want to add something on Terrell May there. Everyone knows what a great season he had for the Roosters last year. I don't think most of our fans would know that he only started 3 games for the Roosters last year, and that's when Origin was on. And he averaged roughly 43 minutes thereabouts. So for him to already first game 65 minutes, if that's the bar, he's upping his average by 50%. I don't even know if he can keep that workload up all year. So we just have to, respect the fact that he said he wants to be the man, he wants to be the leader of the pack, and he's shown it in 1 game already. So to jump his minutes up that much, he did have 3 games over 70 minutes last year, but they were all the ones he started. He never starts games. So he's going to be a starter for us, and he's going to be a great acquisition.
No super chats tonight. Probably don't deserve it. The shitty audio at the start. But patreon.com/Westlife. You want to join us in the Discord. Discord's been going off. One of our friend over in Miami had quite the story. I won't say it on air, but
Why not?
Quite the story. I don't know if he wants to share it publicly, but basically
nothing to be embarrassed
just
about.
put it this way: America and their planes at the moment. We're thinking of him anyway. Over there after his ordeal on a
Especially
on a
given he
flight.
was a guest host.
Yeah. No, we love Riff. Patreon.com. What have the guys got us left for us in the Discord this week as?
So Shane Coates says, I'll be getting upset if we don't win. That was before the game.
And he was upset after
He was upset after the game.
Yeah, we saw him after the game. He was
All right.
Devo.
Yep, here's the first one that was actually after the game. Ben says, I'm getting mine in early. If Brett Hodgson only is going left as our point of attack, he can fuck right back off to Union. That game plan was absolutely disgraceful, and Taruva and Fa'atape have every right to go off it. The guys, they got sweet fuck all ball.
I never read that. That's the first time I've heard that one.
ALXTBO Tiger Taylor says, love seeing us play with a bit of niggle as we've been too nice for many seasons. But unfortunately, if you start it, you've got to finish, and we lost our composure defensively midway through the second half. We had our opportunities, but a little too much jazz-style playmaking from Galvin and not enough classical half play, which can only be expected from a young, confident half. Expecting improvement next week. The other Ben says, if Galvin keeps blowing the attack in the opposition's 20, should he be replaced by Latu as in, does Latu suit Luai's style better?
I don't know if Latu suits Luai's style better. Answer to that from me is no, but we need to find a way to get Latu in the team with Romy and with Lockie.
And
people, the underrating, we've gone from being so big on Lockie, and obviously people are angry at the whole situation, but Lachlan Galvin's going to play Origin within 3 years. He's such a talent.
I'm not putting Latu down at all. I think
Yeah,
he's
they're
going to be an
both they're both gonna be great
amazing
players,
player.
yeah.
But if we go back to that Parramatta trial, Latu was brilliant. Tristan Hope was brilliant. It doesn't always equate
Yeah.
to the game. We saw Latu in the first trial against Canterbury kind of have a very passive role. You know, perhaps Lockie was sort of dominating the ball play and the calling of the ball, but I think he needs his chance somewhere in that team. I don't know. That's up to Benji to work out how they fit him in there, but he's too talented not to be in our best 17.
Guys, sorry, I've had my rant.
last one, Brandon, who's actually here in the Orange Grove with us, says, could we honestly see Galvin 13, Latu 6, Luai 7 if we have a losing record after, say, round 10?
The only way you'll see that is if Lockie signs with Parramatta real soon, which I'm really hoping does not happen. But
if you want to join Brandon,
he can't sign with Parramatta until after November anyway, but it's not going to stop them from trying.
well, isn't that tampering? You're not allowed to talk to people.
No,
nowadays.
before no,
So why- so
Isaac Moses would never, would he?
it's not Isaac Moses. It's that other bloke. Adam Brahm. Adam Brahm's his manager.
Lockie Galvin?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, Lockie Galvin. It's Adam Brahm.
No, it's Moses, isn't it?
It's his management team. It's Adam Brahm is his manager.
You
So,
sure?
it's the Isaac Moses management.
Okay. Do you have
That's his
your
company.
research?
Isaac Moses' company.
Yes, but Adam Brahm looks after him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you
There you go.
All right.
Did I not say that at the start
You
of the
did-
show?
you did say that at the
Probably,
start of the
weren't
show.
listening?
You-
You had
you
technical difficulties.
I was playing producer, not listener.
All good.
Is that all of them?
That was the last of them.
Beautiful. Thank you to all our legends in Discord, patreon.com/Westlife. It's only a couple of bucks and you can submit your questions for the show. Yeah, come join us live at the OG next week. But Sunday night, we'll chat to Adele again.
Well, I want to go before that. Get your
Of course.
get your butts down here
ass.
Sunday afternoon and watch the footy with Josh and I. Aaron's going to be at the game, so he won't
Yep.
be here. Get down here, and also you'll probably, if you feel like talking to us, you'll make our little video clip as well.
Yep.
That we'll be doing.
Post-gamers.
Have a drink with us and cheer the boys on, and hopefully we get the win this week.
100%. Yeah, come down 4 o'clock kickoff. So
Yeah, we'll be here a bit
good
earlier.
luck in the heat and dealing with Parramatta fans because they are disgusting people for the most part. I cannot stand. Although we had a great time. Was it a Parramatta home game that we went to last year?
Yes, so Easter Monday was their home game last year because it's our home
we
game
did
this
actually
year.
have a good day.
It
at
was really
Parramatta.
friggin' close in the end, though,
Yeah.
and we were really needing Gutho to miss that
Yeah.
penalty goal right on
That's
full
right.
time.
That's
There
right.
you go. Next week you can find out the stats. Other than that game, when have we won a game when we've had a player in the sin bin and the other team hasn't? Because find that one out for me because
Oh,
he was in
good
the bin
luck.
that day. 'Cause that's very rare for us. It's normally the other way around.
As on
We get the extra man and we lose.
All right. That's my mission for the
But-
week. Got it.
Next Wednesday, I promise the audio issues will hopefully be better. If you come in the OG, you can hear us nice and clearly. We've got the speaker happening tonight, so apologies for the start. I'll try and fix that in post for the audio versions of the show. But yeah, guys, that's it for another week of the podcast itself. Like I said, we'll chat to Adele Sunday night, so keep an ear out for that late Sunday or early Monday morning to get a good review. It'll be very fresh, the game being Sunday afternoon. So join us then. Thank you to the Orange Grove Hotel. We're down to one quite nice, well-behaved fan now, rather than some loud
rowdy
hecklers, few rowdy
I-
ones early in the
Do you reckon
evening.
one of the other podcasts sent Jason over here to troll us?
Maybe.
I reckon.
Was he here last week?
He was here last week, but he wasn't doing that to us.
Yeah.
He's throwing us off pretty hard, wasn't he?
He mentioned to me earlier he wants if we want his cat on the podcast.
No chance. I
No.
don't want him on our podcast.
If he had said dog, I would have considered it. If he said I have a border collie, I would have gone, yeah, okay. But he said cat. But
Oh,
anyway,
gosh.
its name is Benji, apparently. But all right, time to hit the hay. And thank you, everyone. And as always, go West
Go the
Tigers.
West Tigers.
Go the Tigers.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the West Tigers Life podcast. You can join us every Wednesday night live at 8:30 p.m. from the Orange Grove Hotel. A big thank you to Orange Grove Hotel for their support, as well as iChoice Home Loans. If you want to hear more from the West Tigers Life podcast, go to westtigers.com.au. That'll be our link tree, and you'll find links to all our social media, and you can sign up at our Patreon at patreon.com/Westlife. Join us next time on West Tigers Life.